My darling girl, when are you going to realize that being normal isn't necessarily a virtue? It rather denotes a lack of courage. Anne Francis from Proud to Imagine. In October of 2021, I felt drained by the pandemic, and I needed to recharge. I'd been on meditation retreats in the past, and so I planned a version by myself. I rented a tiny house in a cute neighborhood in a city I had never been. My plan was to meditate, to write in my journal, and to read. I wasn't going to call or text anyone. I even brought my food so I wouldn't have to leave the house for any reason. One of the books I read was a young adult book about gay teens attending a gay summer camp. The kids were out to everyone, and they were always safe. Many of the kids in the book painted their nails. Some did it for self-expression, and some did it just because it was fun. There was a young romance in the book, and two boys painted each other's nails in a touching love scene. I loved it. I put down my book and broke my self-imposed isolation to run to the store and buy nail polish. I painted my nails red with gold flakes, and then I sat down to finish the book. I cried at the end because it was so sweet. The story was the story I dreamed of when I was a kid. I know this story isn't the norm even today, but I looked online and there are indeed gay summer camps for LGBTQ plus kids. I didn't have a summer camp growing up. I didn't have a safe place. I didn't even have one book that used the word gay in a positive way. When I came out in college in the early 90s, I remember being told over and over again that it is important to be normal so that people can see us as ourselves, and then they know that we are just like everyone else. So I worked hard on being visible, and I worked harder on being normal. I wanted the world to be better, I did, and I do feel joy at the changes that have happened, but it turns out I also feel intense jealousy of the younger generation that gets to grow up in a better world. They get to come out earlier and have fewer issues with way more opportunities. And I am left feeling like I missed out on something. I wonder who I would have been if I had a book like this to read when I was young. Now, I know throughout time there have always been brave people and brave gays that lived their truth no matter the consequences. They didn't see normal as a virtue. They were courageous and they lived life on their terms. I was not one of those. In 1977, I remember buying my new shoes for the school year, and if I close my eyes, I can still picture them. They were white, patent leather shoes with big black heels and a huge silver buckle that fastened towards the middle. Like many 6-year-olds, I insisted on wearing them non-stop around the house and couldn't wait to get to school to show off my new shoes. But the first day of school, two older girls cornered me on the playground and made fun of me, telling me I was wearing girl shoes, which so many years later, I can finally admit was the look I was going for. I never wore those shoes again. I was 6, and this is my oldest intact memory of shame. It's my oldest intact memory of knowing that I was different, and it's my oldest intact memory of changing who I was and hiding who I was. They say you dress for who you want to be, and for most of my life, I wanted to fit in and be normal, but secret. I wanted to wear color and fun things like heels and feathers, and I was jealous of anyone who didn't. When I was in my mid-20s, I was out with a girlfriend at a neighborhood bar in Chicago's Boys Town. She and I met this amazing older gay man. He wore velvet, a purple velvet top with a scarf and a hat. He had rings and fancy shoes. He told story after story of being gay in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. He told stories of secret parties, of people he met, and of things he'd done. The backdrop to these stories was intense hatred of gays by society. But his stories were of love and connection, of living his life and having fun. His stories were of courage, And by the end of the night, I thought he was just about the most amazing person I had ever met. I recognized bravery. I recognized him as being one of the nameless heroes that by simply being himself paved the way for change. I told my girlfriend that night, I'm going to be an old gay man like him. She thought I meant interesting. But I meant I was going to wear velvet. But on this meditation getaway during COVID, I wasn't wearing velvet. I was still dressing to fit in. And I continue to protect and nurture my own internalized homophobia and my ever-present and misguided need to be normal. The problem is and was that I'm not normal. And I became very unhappy and very jealous. I was jealous of the young gays who were living their truth and grew up in a better world than I did. I was jealous of, and I was also jealous of the older gays that lived their truth and grew up in a far worse world than I did. It turns out I was jealous of everyone that wasn't me. That amazing man that wore velvet was likely born in the 1920s or even earlier. But he didn't seem jealous at all. I wish I could tell him how nearly 30 years later I can still remember meeting him. I wish I could thank him for that one night of stories. And I wish I could tell him that his stories changed me. But I didn't change. Not until this retreat, and maybe not even then. I know that they say that you are the sum total of all of your experiences. And I experienced many, many, many years wearing flannel. I might never wear velvet. I actually find it kind of gauche. But I think I'll paint my nails once in a while. And I know I'll celebrate and be happy for those who are living their truth as I live mine. Because truth be told, jealousy isn't a good look on me. It doesn't match my painted nails.